Hey everybody, welcome back to our little mountain life. My name is Don and today's video is all about a follow-up to our cable railing project. We've got cable railing on our beautiful deck up here, and we also have cable railing inside the house. So we're going to talk about how it's held up in the elements, some mistakes I made installing them and repairs I've had to do since the installation, and some tips and tricks to help you avoid what I did and make sure that your install goes successfully. Now the cable and the hardware that we use for our projects is all made by a company named Muzata. And Muzata reached out to us to see if we could do a follow-up video to provide more information for people that are researching a cable railing project at their house. There's a lot of manufacturers out there for you to choose from when it comes to cable railing, different options from all over the place, Amazon and other websites. We chose Muzata because we thought it was a great value option. It's not the cheapest and it's not the most expensive, and it's a really good quality product that has stood the test of time. This railing has been installed for over 18 months now on our deck. It's been out in full sun, it's been through the elements, it's been through winter, heat and cold, everything, and it has held up perfectly fine. The cable itself is stainless steel and is wrapped in a black vinyl coating. So way back when we first had the deck built about 18 months ago, and we had to put the railing on the deck of course, I was able to get our deck builder to pre-cut all of our posts for the railing, and then I could actually take my drill and pre-drill all of the holes and make sure that all the hardware was set up before they would install the actual railing. So they were able to put everything up in place, and then I was able to install the cable after the fact, and that definitely saved us a lot of money. When you look at paying an installer to install a cable railing for your deck or patio or whatever, it's going to be a lot of money because it takes a lot of time to do that kind of a project. With the product that Muzata sells, it's really easy to get the components, put it together, and as long as you have time for the project, you can sit down and you can get the job done. Now, if the idea of designing a cable railing project seems a little daunting to you, they actually have a service where you can get in contact with them and they can help design it for you and tell you how much cable you need as far as the length and how many cables you need for as tall as your railing is, what type of cable, what type of hardware, all that kind of good stuff. So if you'd rather have like a design made for you so you can just set it and forget it and put it in place, you can definitely reach out to them for that and they'll help you out. In my case, I was able to take the information I had from our local building code and understand how many sets of cable I needed to fill in the gap from the base of the deck to the top of the handrail. And with our local code, and this is pretty much nationwide, you cannot have any gaps wider than 4 inches. So if you have like lateral or horizontal bracing, it cannot span greater than 4 inches. You don't want a space where a little baby can reach through or fall through your deck, of course. So with that in mind, in this case we opted for 3-inch spacing for all of our cable runs, and that way we can accommodate for any times where the cable might kind of stretch a little bit, especially in between the posts, and that way we still were not exceeding 4 inches when the cable did stretch a bit. So you definitely want to think about safety when doing the railing. It's meant to keep you from falling off. Even if you don't have building codes where you are, look at the national building code, look at the 4-inch gap that I mentioned, and definitely if you need to, put more cable in instead of less. You don't want that gap to get a little too open and then have an accident happen. So Muzata offers a lot of different options for hardware, especially with the anchors that anchor the cable at the end of the run. Some hardware is pretty simple and cheaper looking, and other hardware is a little more sophisticated and a little more expensive. So behind our deck here is our actual house. It's our pole barn house that we've been finishing the inside of for a very long time now. But inside we actually have an open air loft where we put the exact same cable railing. And just like we focused on for outside with the spacing of 3 inches, we did the same thing inside. Our girls are up there, they're gonna spend a lot of time up there, and we wanna make sure that that spacing is nice and tight so there's nothing and no one slipping through. All right, so now let's talk about some of the mistakes I made when it came to installing our cable railing. When installing cable railing, you're definitely going to need to take a look at the tools that you'll need to get the job done. Like this crimp tool here, I used this for the install on the deck out here, but one of the big mistakes I made was inside the house when I first installed the loft railing. I did not get this. I thought to myself, I don't need a special $100 crimp tool to do the crimp. I can just get a wrench and kind of modify it and pinch down on the anchors and it will work fine. And it totally did not work fine. The makeshift crimps that I put on those anchors failed, the cables pulled out, and I had to redo it all again with the proper tool. So after failing inside the house, I knew that for this project outside, I had to get the right tool for the job. Muzata sells crimpers, and I'm sure there's other types of crimpers out there, but it just makes sense to buy the tools from the same company that builds the hardware. And with the crimper, you're gonna have a little insert there that'll go inside the crimping tool, and it's a pneumatic crimper, so you don't have to really rely on your brute strength to get the job done. And it's really important that you make sure that these inserts are the right size for the hardware that you're using. It's probably a good idea to have some extra hardware and extra cable so you can do some test crimps to make sure that it's tightening down and being really strong for your application. So like everything else with our home build, I realized that having the right tool for the job will save you time and money in the long run, so you don't have to buy multiple things and spend a lot of time trying to make something work that probably will never work. So from our original video where we did the cable railing on the deck, we talked about why we chose cable railing. We wanted to preserve the view so that no matter where you were sitting inside the house or on the deck, if the railing was there, you could basically see through it and see these beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains here in Virginia. The thought of having these little vertical spindles all the way through the deck and kind of obstructing the view, that was just not our cup of tea. You could do glass railing, but glass railing is extremely expensive and you gotta clean it. With this cable railing, there's not much to clean at all. Maybe just wipe it down every now and then when it gets dirty, and it really helps keep the view nice and open. You'll have different options with the cable that you choose. You can just stick with stainless steel, but with our house being black, we opted for the black vinyl coating to kind of tie it all together. Another one of the proprietary tools for the job is this little wrench that Muzata will send out with their hardware. And this wrench has all the different little cutouts to help you wrench down and tighten your cable railing hardware, especially with the anchors. Now after about 18 months of being out here, even though they're stainless steel cables, they did stretch a little bit and maybe the hardware loosened just a little bit. So definitely I would say after about a year or so, take a look at your cable railing and make sure you're checking it with a wrench to make sure it's nice and tight. Again, so that you don't have any spots where you're gonna get more than 4 inches in between your railing sets to make sure you're at code and safe. Really all it took for me was a couple rotations with the wrench to make sure it's tight again, and it's been holding great ever since. So all this time later, we're definitely still big fans of the cable railing, especially the product that Muzata makes. I know it sounds a little bit like a commercial, and they did ask us to kind of put up more information on their products, but seriously, it's worked out great. And there's still a lot of people commenting on that old video that we put out way over a year ago now. So if you have any questions about your cable railing project, if you're just looking into it for the very first time, let us know, give us a comment down below, ask any questions you have, and I'll try to answer those questions to the best of my ability, trying to help you guys out get your cable railing going at your place. Make sure you check out the link below to Muzata. They've got a lot of great information on their website. You can see all the hardware and cables that they offer. And remember, I talked before about how they have a design service available. So you can reach out to them and they can help you design your next cable railing project. We have at least one more big deck build in our future, hopefully in the next year or so. And we plan on using the same Muzata deck railing system to make that deck as beautiful as this one. Appreciate you guys watching this video, and we'll see you guys on the next one.